Everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Ian with Rail City. Don't forget to subscribe if you find this video helpful, and then be sure and check out my channel for brand new DIY self-recorded music from my band, Rail City. And just a little disclaimer, this is a guitar review and demo, so I'm going to talk about this guitar first and then play it some. So if you just want to hear how it sounds, just skip like halfway through the video and you can get right to that. But today we're going to be taking a look at a Fender Lyte bass. If you're looking for a kind of sort of hard to find P bass whose praises are pretty much universally sung on bass forums, this is what the doctor should prescribe for you. I'm not sure when this bass is made. If I took the neck off, I could probably find out. I don't really care to do that. But these are the entire Fender Lyte series was made in Japan, and I think they were made between 87 to 91, I want to say. I could be totally off on that though. Definitely like 5 years rolling in the late 80s and early 90s. And there were a couple different versions of these, a couple different colors. You can get them in black, white, red, and then there's just plain wood too. And then there was the regular one, which is what we're going to look at today. And there was a deluxe version as well with some additional tonal controls. And let me just preface this all by saying too that I am not a bassist, even though I do enjoy playing bass. Specifically, this one, this is the only bass I own because it's the only one I need. I think that really says something about this bass. But I'm going to try to give the best commentary that I can on it. So as the name implies, this is a very lightweight bass. In fact, I don't think it could possibly be more lightweight. On the one hand, it's a real pain saver on your back for sure. You can swing this puppy around all day and it's not going to fatigue on you at all. But then on the other hand, the weight of this bass is unevenly distributed. The neck is heavier than the body. So, you know, when it's in the case, unless you have a case that's weight compensated, one end is definitely heavier than the other. And then, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, and then if you've got it on a strap, you know, you don't have to put a lot of effort into it, but if you just let it sit like this, it is gradually gonna tilt over because of how much heavier the neck is than this super lightweight and scaled down body. So let's talk about some of the hardware on this guy. You'll notice it's all gold right down to where it holds your straps. The tuners are gold too. Some people will have aesthetic issues with that. I think rightfully so. I mean, you know, silver strings against gold hardware is kind of ugly, but surprisingly it doesn't bother me too much. You can see here the tuners are made in Japan. These are really nice tuners, stay in tune excellently. And then, you know, as with most basses, they just have that little slit in there that you run the string through, and it makes it very easy to restring. And then the bridge here is very simple as well. Couldn't be more simple, but it gets the job done 100%. Couldn't be happier with it. This bass does have active pickups, so there is a battery behind the back here. But I've been running it on the same battery for years and years and years and years, so it doesn't eat up batteries. And then these pickups are your classic P bass kind of setup. We have one volume knob here, and then 3 tone knobs, one for each of the pickups. And then, as was the case with a couple really cool Fender guitars that a lot of people are really nostalgic about, like the Fender HM Strat and the Fender HM Telecaster, these have your Tbx Tone Controls. So what does that mean? If I'm not mistaken, that's TBX stands for treble bass expansion. So when you're turning these knobs, so the tone knob's all the way down right now, if you turn it halfway, you'll feel it catch, and it'll go further, but there's going to be a little bit of a catch to it. That means your tone's turned all the way up, and if you continue to turn it, it gives you a more scooped sound, a more studio, like already EQ'd sound, which is really cool. I actually kind of like this in your standard setup, so the TBX stuff not engaged. But if you just want to push it over the edge and make it your bass sound, you know, like pre-mixed, if you're playing it live on stage, like a professionally EQ'd bass would on a record, let's say, with some of the high end peaking out and then some more accentuated low end, The Tbx Tone Controls are really, really handy for that, and a really nice touch on an otherwise very basic instrument here. So lightweight, simple, you know, caveman technology that's really easy to use, but definitely gets the job done. And then the electronics are very, very efficient and very, very easy to get really any sound you could want out of this bass, in my opinion. Let's talk about the neck a little bit. You know, behind the pickups, which define the sound of any guitar you play. The next is where your comfort factor is, which is really important. So let's take a minute to talk about that. This is a really, really thin neck if you're into that. I'm not a bassist myself, but I like this bass a lot, and bassists who I've let play this really like thin neck profiles in general, and they tend to really warm up to this bass and not want to give it back to me, which is pretty cool. You can see here the finish on the back of the neck here is pretty glossy, and you know, as you would expect from a Fender P bass, this has your standard C-shaped profile to it, but the gloss here is pretty thick. But I've never had any problems with it. It doesn't feel overdone, and it doesn't get sticky or anything when it's hot from my experience. So yeah, nothing but good things to say about the neck. So now let's talk about the money side of things. How much do Fender Lyte bass costs? Well, at the time you're watching this video, who knows? I will say the price of these has gone up year over year on eBay. I check it occasionally just out of curiosity and boredom, I guess. But yeah, if you're looking to invest in a bass that's going to contribute to your retirement fund or is going to raise some venture capital for you or something, this is a good bass to invest in. I would say, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, these were like $450 on eBay. Then they went up to $500, and I think they're around $600 right now. I don't know if this bass is worth that. I mean, unless you're just tired of slinging around heavy-ass basses, then maybe it'd be worth shelling out for this. Like I say, I have nothing but good things to say about this bass. But I got this bass in 2012 on Craigslist. A guy wanted $350 for it, which I knew was insane for a made in Japan, you know, 1990 Fender bass. The guy was like, yeah, man, I'll just drive by your job and, you know, you can buy it out of my trunk. And I was like, nah, dude, I need to stop by your house to make sure it works. He pinged me back and he was like, I don't know what's going on. It's not getting sound. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $200, no questions asked. Whatever needs to be fixed on it, I'll eat that cost, but I'll give you $200 for it. See, I got this bass for $200 in 2012 out of a guy's trunk on, you know, that I messaged on Craigslist. Went to the guitar shop, and nowadays I could have diagnosed this, but there was an exposed wire that was touching the foil that lines the back of the back plate here, and that was shorting out the sound, I guess. So the wire got patched up for $10, and I was good to go with this bass for $200, and I've been playing it ever since, and have never had a need for another bass. Thanks for sticking with me. I hope those details were helpful. Now we're going to take a look at how this bass sounds. I am playing through a Behringer Ultra Bass 50-watt solid-state amp. I know it's not the best amp, but it's all I got. So yeah, hopefully it gives you a good taste of how this bass sounds. So I'm playing through that. I'm micing it with an Audio-Technica AT2035 large body condenser mic. That's a mic that has a pretty flat frequency response and doesn't roll off any of the bass frequencies, so it should give you a pretty accurate picture of how the bass sounds, although it might sound a little bit cold being a condenser mic that I'm miking a guitar with. And then I'm running it through a Tascam US 1608 solid state preamp, and let's have it, folks. That's a full overview, sonically and verbally, of the magnificent Fender Lyte bass. Couldn't recommend it more. If you have any questions, just leave them down in the comments. And don't forget to check out my channel if you're into music. That's all I post about is gear reviews and music that me and my friends make and stuff like that. So be sure and subscribe and check that out. And I hope you have an excellent day or night or evening wherever you are. Have fun.